With Rise of the TMNT's movie coming to Netflix soon and the entire 2003 series finally streaming in decent quality on a legitimate, albeit buggy and incompetent service, I've been in a Turtles kind of mood lately, so let's indulge in some of the shell-raising, split-kicking, uncomfortable interspecies romancing action with the recently released Shredder's Revenge and its much older predecessor, Turtles in Time. You gotta love how often Shredder begins these games by broadcasting his crimes in broad daylight for the whole world to see. I like to think he'd have gotten away with either of these Statue of Liberty heists had he just waited until the Super Bowl was on, so there's a chance that the Turtles would be on a different channel. Developed by Tribute Games, founded by some guys that worked on Scott Pilgrim, Shredder's Revenge is pretty obviously a loving tribute and sequel to TMNT Turtles in Time, now regarded as an arcade beat-em-up classic. Not the 3D remake you can't play anymore, the original. Though I did make a video on that now lost piece of Turtles media because I have a working copy. It's sort of impossible to talk about Shredder's Revenge without talking about Turtles in Time too, so I think if there's any place that I get to review that game, I might as well just toss it in here too. But first, a word from our sponsor. You're all probably waiting for the new TMNT movies coming out soon like me, and the wait can be pretty grueling if you don't have something to kill the time. Why not pass the time by saving Hero Wars from the dreadful Archdemon, a game you can get now with the link in the description. You're gonna need a fearsome fighting hero team of your own for that task. If you can't pick between all these cool heroes, I suggest Celeste. She'll be a perfect fit for any team. And with your team built, you can challenge opponents online to test your skills. In Hero Wars, you can claim rewards and level up to prepare for the ultimate battle because even the most deadly and dangerous of bosses can be brought down with the right team. Join the game now and get a super chest with 5 top heroes, one of them is secret, as well as 600 emeralds and 30,000 gold. The game is available on any device, just scan the QR code or tap the link in the description to start playing now. How many heroes did you see in this ad? Comment below if you think you spotted all of them. Now back to the video. Turtles in Time is based on the much loved but hard to rewatch 80s Turtles cartoon. Oh, I'm stepping on some toes with that comment. It's got some interesting ideas for its combat, including moves that play with the perspective in a clever way. The Turtles try to get the Shredder, aka David Copperfield, to return his absconded superhero movie third act set piece, and he sends them on a trip through time. It's a wacky premise, but it's par for the course for Ninja Turtles. In most TMNT interpretations, they do a fair amount of time traveling or dimension hopping adventures. And like all the time, like every single one. I'm talking longer so I can show more clips of how often it happens. And it makes for some really creative stages to go through history. You remember history class, right? All the most important parts of history are here. The dinosaur ages, the time when everyone was pirates, and cowboy times. That's all the important ones. Oh, and the future. It would have been too much of a bummer to have the Turtles fighting ninjas with World War I trenches in the background, filling up with mustard gas, and soldiers with trench foot tearing their flesh to get out of their boots to climb away from the lung-burning chemicals. In fact, a lot of historical time periods are pretty depressing. They only went for the stuff that could be a little fun. Pirates are okay if you ignore some of the edgier parts of them and just keep your mind squarely focused on the word swashbuckling. Then you go to the future where everything is shiny and chrome and impractical. That's the world I want to live in. The bosses are, of course, a few recurring villains from the series, but they also had Tokka and Razar because movie synergy! Even though they weren't in the cartoon back then. Bebop and Rocksteady? Psh, nah, these guys are where it's at. These two ugly character designs with no personality that appear for one movie. But eventually they were in the series 2 years after this game came out. Then Shredder becomes Super Shredder! Because movie synergy! Jeez, is this a Marvel game? Then you lose because it takes too many coins to beat him at the arcade and money doesn't grow on trees. It's a fun romp when you play it with a friend or 3, but it shows its age. For one, I find that the controls are sort of limited by only using 2 buttons. You can jump and you can punch, and all of your moves are sort of a combination of mashing those 2. But nothing more complex than that. I feel like the characters could all use a little more variety in their movesets because they all play pretty much the same outside of one special attack that's unique to each Tortuga. Given that it's a 4-player game, home console release was only 2-player because SNES and Genesis only had 2 controller ports, I get why they don't have any playable characters other than the Turtles themselves, but having Casey, Splinter, and April would be nice. I'm foreshadowing. The enemies thankfully have a nice bit of variety based on each stage and various types of foot soldiers, so fighting them keeps you on your toes without being totally unfair. They get their quarters from the bosses because some of them have some pretty cheap moves that can't be avoided. The only way to effectively beat them is to trap them in a corner as a squad of 4 and just spam as much damage as you can, Ultimate Alliance style. Back in the old days, 2 guys with the right timing could curb stomp one of these bosses in 30 seconds. Turtle power means no more teeth for you, bitch. Overall, it's a fairly simple game, but you don't need complexity when the fundamentals are so strong. Although, throwing complexity on those fundamentals, This game stands the test of time as just a really solid beat-em-up, and a really great attempt to bring the 80s cartoons feel and look into a playable setting. It's all the excitement of an average episode of the show with you behind the controls, and that's more than you can say for most licensed games from around this time, trying to replicate the feeling of other shows and movies. Being that Turtles in Time is such a strong foundation, it's no wonder that this game's spiritual successor / soft reboot / kind of remake / Wu-Tang album is such a stellar follow-up. Okay, this one. I got a download code for this one. Thanks to Tribute Games for the download code. I appreciate that. Shredder's Revenge only came out this year, and it's already gotten that instant classic feeling to it. I just feel it in my ooze irradiated bones that people are going to be referring back to this as the gold standard for 2D beat-em-ups for a long time. Wait, does this count as 2D if you can move up and down too? Surely, yeah, right? Like, that's... The maps have a lot of depth now. So it's not really a side-scroller. Is this 2.5D? How many Ds are there here? Someone help me count the Ds.
D's nut.
This game is everything to love about Turtles in Time, but far more polished and more modern. The combat is way more refined, allowing for far more complicated combos and movement. Look, you can even juggle the same foot soldier forever. He needs to be dead for 4 hours by the time he finally hits the ground. That's what Master Splinter taught us. Then drop a grenade on him. You can do dive kicks and supers and, I mean, all that was in the other game, but now it's like, it's fancier. Shredder wants revenge for, well, just take your pick, and then starts the game by snatching Lady Liberty once again. This time there's no time travel though. Instead of various time periods, you spend the majority of this game exploring different areas in New York. You know, the old classics ranging from streets to rooftops to the mall to zoos to the skyline to the highways to the Technodrome. These levels have a lot of love and detail put in them, with visual gags every few feet and so many layers of scenery to make them feel really lived in and recognizable from each other. Pretty much every level in this game is distinct from all the rest, and that's no easy feat for modern game designers. Just look at Avengers! I know that's a low blow, I'm sorry, but just... Imagine a Ninja Turtles game with the same kind of skin designs as the Avengers. That would be just swell. The enemy variety in this game is even better, with dozens of different types of foot soldiers that have to be fought in different ways because they have different weapons and different rules, but also some turtle mainstays like the Mouser robots and the Triceratons. Plus, of course, this game is a lot longer than Turtles in Time with way more bosses. But it's cool seeing some of the villains that appear in both and comparing their sprites and movesets. Oh my god, they're even in this one too! It's Toka and Razar! They're just gonna keep putting them in stuff, alright. My favorite boss in this game is probably Chrome Dome because they once again require you to do that throw ninjas at the screen mechanic to stun him for a few hits, and that's really fun, I like it. And would you look at that, you can play as April, Casey, and Splinter in this game. Though you have to unlock Casey after the first playthrough and some side quests. Side quests are really simple and just come down to hunting for special collectibles to hand off to some of the supporting characters from the cartoon. These quests let you unlock new moves and buffs. These and the challenges that are unique to each level give some really nice extra replayability, which is great because eventually games like this start to tend to get a little tiring if you're just mindlessly button mashing for hours and hours. Putting that extra layer on top of it helps. Somehow this one still hasn't lost its charm yet, and I just love playing it with friends casually. Given just how many characters, locations, and ideas are here from the 80s series, this really feels like a perfect love letter to that show. The gang's all here! And this game's just incredibly well put together and fun to play with friends. They have a 6-player mode too! You imagine having 6 people who like you enough to come over to your house and play this fucking Ninja Turtle game with you. Are you seriously playing this game alone?
Nah, I'm with my boy!
Yeah! Woo!
Oh wait, the PS4 version is fucked up and it can only play online or locally and not a mix of the two, so 6-player feature does not work. Is that being worked on? It would be cool if you could fix that. No? Okay. Aw. Anyway, I still recommend this game, even though that's depressing. But yeah, it's a good old Ninja Turtles time, and I need to do more Ninja Turtles videos. I give me your top 10 Ninja Turtles video ideas so I can do more Ninja Turtles videos. See you next time.